Hi guys, welcome to episode 4 of Dispatch from Russia, NewsClick's World Cup coverage. Our correspondent Siddhanth Aney is in Russia covering the tournament for us, giving us insights from the venue, outside, mingling with Russians, understanding the country. And today we will be discussing, looking ahead into the quarterfinals, the interesting lineups that are there, tough matches coming up, some great footballing action. And also, a very interesting point we'll be discussing, it's Siddhanth's World Cup debut. And he started off with a bang in a way, actually with Neymar theatrics. So we'll be discussing both Siddhanth's antics as well as Neymar theatrics in this episode. Hi Siddhanth, how's the weather there?
Pretty bad, man. It's getting not bad, but it's a bit rainy though. We had a few weeks of sunshine and hot weather, and now it's just every day is going to be rain.
I figured it's pretty bad weather going there by the reaction from in that video that's gone viral on YouTube. He's standing behind MS Rodriguez and celebrating something.
Boy, James was sitting and watching the game together. It didn't turn out the way both of us wanted. But it's only taken five, six tournaments, finals, etc., to finally make my TV debut.
So you should check out this video, guys, and it's Siddhanth Aney's debut in a football match, World Cup, that too. World Cup debut actually, and he's made a good account of himself, playing behind James Rodriguez. But yeah, getting back to the serious business of football in Russia, the quarterfinals are upon us, and it's tricky to call again. I mean, like all quarterfinals that way. So let's get straight into our matchups that are coming up. First, the opening match would be a blockbuster of sorts, France taking on Uruguay. It's like, I mean, in essence, it's like Griezmann facing Atletico Madrid in a way. So your views on that?
It will once again, I mean, I think both sides are critical to how this World Cup will turn out. And it's the opening quarterfinal game, and I think it's probably Brazil, Belgium, and France, Uruguay are the two quarterfinals to really watch out for. I don't know. I think Uruguay are a really strong side with the potential to go all the way in this tournament. They've brought along a super group of fans. They're loud and I hope they were at the last game in Kazan for sure. I hope they will stick around and continue to support their team, because that will be important to how Cavani and company do as well.
Cavani, talking about Cavani, he had a slight problem, a calf injury, I believe, and he went off field in the pre-quarters. So what is any update on his injury? How is he faring? Is he back?
Just given how important he is to the team, I don't see any possibility of him not starting that game. I mean, whether he's got one leg left or he's fully 100% fit, I think he'll definitely start that game, and he will be critical to Uruguay's performance. I mean, no secret there.
And like you mentioned, this half of the draw is the tough draw. It's so let's quickly get to the second game in that on the day, which is Brazil taking on Belgium. An interesting.
As far as the draw is concerned, I mean, people are saying that it's the trickier half of the draw, but we've seen what's happened on the other side of the draw. Spain were not supposed to lose to Russia by any stretch of the imagination, but they did. So there's no such thing as an easy half or a tough half. I think we knew before the tournament started how the brackets would most likely play out, given how teams would perform. I mean, everyone knew that France would be We made our own like sort of predictions of how this tournament would turn out, and to some extent, of course, Russia being in this position today was not expected. But other than that, Sweden as well. But but by and large, the way the brackets have proceeded is according to how it should have gone down. So I don't see any real massive surprises as such. Um, and yeah, at the end of the day, there will be a semi-final, so the bracket will sort itself out.
Yeah, of course. By not expecting surprises, what do you mean between the two sides, Brazil and Belgium? What would be a shock result?
Yeah. I mean, in short, I expect Belgium to be much stronger than they were against Japan. I think everyone that has played against Japan in this tournament so far has been taken completely by surprise by just the level of comfort and clarity and sort of composure with which the Japanese played their football, and the way in which they refused to really change their game in the way that many of the smaller teams changed their game to adjust to the attacking sides that they were facing. So there was no drastically defensive approach. I mean, they played like it was at the feet kind of football. Against Brazil, of course, there's no question of defensive football happening from that side. So I think it's going to be a really, really fun, exciting game to watch.
It would be an open game, I guess, and especially when Belgium coach Martinez has hinted that his players would go, 11 players would go on attack. I mean, goalkeeper going on attack as well, and 11 players will defend. So that means that they would be prepared for a very high tempo, high intensity match, and that would be a fun match, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be. I mean, so one of the things that happened in the last game was automatically, I think, in the knockouts, all the teams, the intensity goes up a few notches. So while, for example, Colombia-England wasn't the most exciting game to watch from a build-up and a possession play kind of perspective, but the intensity with which both teams played, because of the physicality of the Colombian side, and they don't hesitate to sort of get into it at the slightest chance. But it was played at extremely high intensity, and you could see that even in like almost 20 degrees, the players their shirts were drenched with sweat, and they were really putting everything into it. So Brazil, Belgium, no doubt about it. It's going to be a high tempo, high intensity game. Brazil only play one way, and I think this Belgium side also, although they are fairly strong and organized at the back, I think their strength is also going forward, and they like to play some attacking football. So we're going to see, inshallah, a cracker of a game in that one.
So when you talk that both the sides would be attacking, so I am actually a little afraid now. Will Neymar get a chance to roll around if they defend or?
Oh, you bet. Yeah. That guy, I mean, he's a disgrace, absolute disgrace. How, like, so many major corporations, and this is what I don't understand, the hypocrisy of this whole situation. That on the one hand, how it's so easy in certain circumstances to label a player a cheat or a dishonest player and then not sort of have him endorse your products anymore. But nobody has a problem with a guy like Neymar who blatantly cheats. Blatantly. I mean, in front of 39 or 37 or however many cameras, in high definition, ultra HD, 4K nonsense is going on. And this guy is rolling around on the floor when the opponent hasn't even come anywhere close to him. I mean, it's really shameful. And how a guy like that can, I mean, live with himself, wake up in the morning, I don't understand it. And I think, like, it's about time someone sort of came down on this kind of nonsense behavior.
I hope that within the Brazil team, someone would step in, the coach. I mean, but him being a superstar, there is always that fine line that a coach or anyone can has to draw while dealing with such stars. I mean, prima donnas in a way. But Brazil luckily have 2-3 other players who have actually stepped onto the plate in this World Cup. Coutinho being one, and last match Willian had a very good match, and so these players are actually playing while Neymar is. I think that's what Coach Tite wanted also. Neymar garnering the unwanted attention and doing his part, attracting defenders and all that, while the other 10 of them play football.
Yeah, I mean, he has undoubted talent. I'm not taking that away from the guy, but I just feel like, I mean, in terms of we are all involved in the same sport, and I have as much of a right to comment on what he does as he has the right to, I guess, do what he does on the pitch. So I'm not taking away from the talent that he has, and undoubtedly he'll create problems for the Belgian defense from time to time. But I agree with you. I think Coutinho is the best player, the most important and critical player to this Brazil side. Apart from, of course, Thiago in defense and how they shape up there. And Willian also, because he has this great ability to kind of sit just in front of the defense, break up play, work as a box-to-box kind of midfield player, but also strong going forward and a cracker of a shot. So you never know what he's going to come up with. So I'm really looking forward to that game.
That takes us to the match of the quarters for me, as far as the mood at the World Cup is concerned, because the hosts are playing. Russia versus Croatia. What is the mood there generally, with Russia reaching the quarters and such a big game ahead?
Mood is certainly upbeat. They've done more than what they were expected to by far. I mean, firstly, no one expected them to get out of the group, which was, I think, a bit of an underestimation of their team, given that they had Saudi Arabia and Egypt in the squad, in the group. But definitely no one expected them to beat Spain, for sure. Not one single person in this whole country. Maybe nobody in the team either. So, extreme excitement. And really, like, it's a very sporting country.
Yeah, they have had sporting traditions. Yeah.
So, and it doesn't matter what sport it is. I mean, yesterday the Russian team was playing a volleyball game against Poland, I think. I'm not sure, but I think it was Poland. And there were thousands of people watching that game. So it's really irrelevant what sport it is. Everyone just backs it. And when it's happening at home, it's difficult to ignore. So massive support for Russia. And I think commendable, the performance that these guys have put in. Of course, on the WhatsApp groups, the jokes are doing the rounds about having kidnapped the families of the players and all of that. But it's sort of, it's in a sense very typical humor, typical of the kind of stereotypes of Russia that were portrayed before this tournament. And already, I think a lot of those stereotypes have been disproved by Russians themselves.
Now a lot of things have changed, the perceptions. And talking about kidnapping, actually Russians are kidnapping in a way, but they are kidnapping the game plan of the opposition teams by resolute football on the field. And that takes us to the matchup on the field against Croatia. And I'm just intrigued about how the famed Croatian midfield, the creative crux of that team, how will they fare against Russians who are likely to crowd the midfield and not give them space, the creative space that they would ideally want?
See, given the sweepstakes that we have going and the fact that I predicted a France-Croatia final at the beginning of this tournament, I I have to say that the Croatian midfield will do exceptionally well against the Russians and run rampant. And they'll finally, I think, establish themselves as the force that they are, I believe.
That's long due.
Yeah. It's about time, and they've had 4 games into the tournament now. I think they've had as much time to warm up as they will get. So it's time now to get into sort of the groove, the run of things, and really establish its dominant position. Again, and goals from midfield will be significant, I think. So Croatia will want to get, Perisic or Modric or one of these boys definitely on the score sheet to get their confidence going and get everything working out the right way. As much as it would be fun to have a Russia-England potential semi-final happening,
Sort of like a Cold War against stereotyping, but yeah.
Because I think it would be fantastic, and for Russia to then beat England in that semi-final and go on to the final would be sort of, in many ways, the dream end to what's been a superb World Cup. But I can't see that happening. Not against the Croatians.
That takes us to your favorite team in the World Cup, England.
My favorite team in the world.
Yeah, England. So, I believe you have a deep connect with one particular English club, and besides that, English football in general.
Used to. We've just gone through an extremely acrimonious divorce. So I won't even mention that.
So which team would it be now from henceforth? CSK Moscow or something like that?
CSK was my first club, and it's a good idea to go back to it, I think.
So yeah, let's get back to the England match then. England versus Sweden. Yeah, I have Swedish loyalties, but yeah. So let's. How will the match progress? Because there is. English media has already started talking how average in a subtle way, how average the Swedish team is, and how they are working hard to reach where they are. But I believe that Sweden has reached there by merit, and it's not a bunch of average Joes coming out for a Sunday match. They're a good side.
My take is that every tournament has a couple of strong, sort of organized defensive sides that make it through to the latter stages. We've seen this sort of throughout, more in the European Championships than in the World Cup, because all European teams tend to play, especially when they play against each other, they tend to play in this sort of straight-jacketed, unimaginative and organized way, because everyone is the standards are so close. Everyone, when you say average team, like the difference between an average team and a really good team isn't massive. So even if Sweden are an average team by like sort of European or world football standards, by our standards they are still pretty damn good.
Exactly, that's a yardstick which is very subjective, but for me, I guess results matter, and average team and good team would be the one who can manage to score after 85 minutes and then get that. Like for instance, how Belgium did to Japan. The difference, the cutting edge. But so will England have that cutting edge if it gets to that crunch situation?
Yeah, undoubtedly. England are a young team but hugely exciting. There are a bunch of extremely talented young players on that side, and you can tell with the squad when they get on the pitch. From the opening whistle, they are looking to build something that leads it to a goal. The intention or the intent is always there. Colombia were extremely effective in breaking them up and not allowing them to play any sort of free-flowing, cohesive attacking game. Sweden will attempt to do the same. But I think after getting the win and the massive boost that it will be to the entire squad to win on penalties, with all the baggage that England has, of penalty shootouts and going out in penalty shootouts. So it's a young team that has, in a way, already shown that it doesn't carry the same baggage that older England teams have. So, and hopefully people watching will also read my England piece, which should be up on the website soon. So please check that out. But talking to people in England, essentially there's a sense of reasonable optimism that at least a semi-final is a distinct possibility here.
Reasonable is a tricky word, though.
Sorry?
Reasonable is a tricky word. Critical word, yeah. But yeah, it's so that's it. 4 matches, great matches. A lot of football. What do you call that? Very clash of styles would be there, clash of footballing philosophies in a way. But otherwise, it's the way World Cup has progressed so far. It's been there is a tinge of unpredictability in all these things. So there are, couple of teams who are underdogs going into the match, but you can't actually call them underdogs. Russia, for instance, with home support and the way they have been playing, and against a Croatian side who have become one of the favourites. That's a tricky call. Sweden, England, again, young team, exciting team, but Swedish, that spirit of team bonding and the spirit of team play and the team comes first. That kind of idea might prevail, which would be great to see also at some level.
Actually, the interesting thing in this England team was also that there's that massive element of team play. You don't see any individual because, like a lot of the players, of course, Harry Kane
has stood out,
an established goal scorer and was at the start of the tournament one of the front runners for the Golden Boot. But that aside, there's no real single star. There's no Neymar, no Coutinho in this side. They are all kind of young players looking to become the biggest star in their respective club sides. And for England also, I think that might work out really well because it gives a balance to the squad that is kind of not been the case with England sides in a while.
So which teams are you rooting for at the quarterfinal? Just a quick question, so that I know where to look out for this expression.
For me, in an ideal world, it will be France-Belgium semi-final on one side and Croatia-England semi-final on the other.
That's a perfect matchup, and on that, let's see how that plays out. And how your prediction, because so far I think you have been 50-50. So let's see if it would be a Uruguay, Brazil and Croatia, Sweden semi-final.
So we are deciding that Russia is out of the competition, huh?
Yeah. Putin might not be happy.
See if he's listening, he'll teach us a bit of a lesson.
Yeah. On that note, hoping that Russia would remain in the tournament to keep that spirit alive, but I am sure the Russians would celebrate football nonetheless, even if the team are out in the quarterfinals. It's a big achievement for them. Because at the start of the tournament there were always talks that this team wouldn't have made it into the World Cup had they not been hosts. So on that note, looking ahead to the quarterfinal matches, great action up, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the action. I hope, Siddhanth, you also have fun out there at the venues, and obviously post the World Cup, the matches, you can catch up with some fans for some great celebration and party. So that's it. Happy viewing, guys. Enjoy the quarters.